is your post-match pint. Neil Atkinson, Phil Blundell, Stu Wright and Stu. It's Liverpool's poorest home performance since Nottingham Forest. No hiding places, no covering it up. The Reds were nowhere near good enough today against Manchester United. Let's be clear, Manchester United are better than 14th or 15th in the league, wherever the fuck they are at the moment. They're a better side than that. They've got the type of players, they're good enough to be 7th or 8th, but that doesn't forgive what Liverpool lashed in today. For me, from start to finish, the Reds weren't at it. It wasn't good enough.
Yeah, it's not about them, it's about us.
Rightly so.
We're a team who's been fated as champions-elect, and that is not a champions-elect performance. I think you're being kind to them by saying it was the worst performance since Nottingham Forest. I think it was far worse. I think from the first whistle, we were second to every ball, and there was a bit of a feeling in the crowd of Liverpool this season have tended to get better in the second half. We got worse when we came out for the second half. Apart from a little bit of a fight back when we.
I thought we were good from 1-0 to them. To 2-1 to us. I thought we were really good, but if anything, that just makes me angrier with the other stuff that we say, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, and the thing was as well, what killed us after that was the same issues that was killing us before it. It was like we didn't learn during the game. They didn't have some master plan. It was very clear what they were targeting to do. Down there left, overloading up against Trent, who had a diabolical game, by the way. And I don't think we should take any backward steps in saying that. We shouldn't be shy of saying it just because of the contractual issues around him. He was really poor. He wasn't the only one. But he didn't help himself in the game. And Liverpool just fell into the trap time and time again. And I think that's the thing that's most frustrating. You find yourself in a position, probably undeservedly so, in the lead in the second half. And a bit of momentum, a bit of wind at your back, and you've won the crowd over again. And then we just fell apart. We just really fell apart. So many poor performances. I think you've got to make the exception of the goalkeeper and maybe a couple of the defenders. I think Kanate and Van Dijk did as well as they could do under the circumstances, but the pressure that Liverpool were putting themselves under time and time again. Conditions didn't help, but the conditions were the same for both teams. You could see in the first half, straight away.
But also, Stu, the conditions are part of a weather forecast. Yeah. One of my points is, what he moves to during the game, when he just goes, fuck it might as well be 4-2-4. You can make an argument to start that. Do you know what I mean? In that you might as well just say, well, it's not going to be a sensible game where you can build loads of football and build loads of pressure. You play channels and you go from there and you learn from it. And maybe there's a thing here where this manager, there's certain things he hasn't lived yet, i.e. what does it look like in January when it's teeming down, it's hail and it's snow. So I've got a bit of sympathy for that. But on the whole, Liverpool are trying to play a game, I think in the first half especially, that's really hard to do with the way the weather's going. And there's a point right on the final whistle where Fernandes just fucking hangs one up and Robertson just deals with it. And our crowd are a bit like, fucking hell. But Robertson's right, Fernandes is right. The point is, when the weather's like that, there's an argument at times just to go, we're going to hang it up and you're going to have to cope with what comes next. And all game, we were not prepared for that.
100%. It's like the players hadn't been out for the warm-up and played in the conditions. It's like it came to as a shock to them. I felt like they all had the wrong boots on for the occasion. Yes, the ball was holding up. So if the ball's holding up, you don't play slow passes, slow build-up around your own penalty area where you're just putting yourselves into trouble. All you're doing is you're inviting the opposition more time to press you because you're needing an extra touch, or the ball is not being delivered with enough purchase on it to get to the man quick enough.
It's so hard to put the right amount of purchase on it.
Absolutely. So you've got to play the percentages, you've got to play the lines, and we didn't do that at all. We really struggled with it. And it was a game where, and there's not many times you could say this season, a game where we played with a lack of intelligence, a lack of game mentality, of match play, and you really had to have match play today. You've got to understand that even regardless of the conditions, a game against Manchester United, it doesn't matter where they are in the league, doesn't matter what performances they're, it's a derby. It's a derby. You've got to play it like a derby. You've got to be showing willing to be first into every tackle. You've got to be switched on. And if the conditions are making that difficult, then play the conditions. Don't be a mug.
I think it's the first time this season, Phil, where I genuinely do feel as though the manager's got it a little bit wrong from the outset. I think not having Szoboszlai and still sticking with the front three as he did, I'm not sure about that. There's a couple of other interesting things in there where I'm just not quite sure about that. I think it's the first time we've seen an opposition manager of a good team, they're not a great team, but a good team, know that they're going to have to deal with Luis Diaz dropping off on the front. What their plan is to deal with that, and I think that Liverpool spent the whole 45 minutes wondering why Manchester United are outnumbering them in areas when that was predictable all along.
YouTube, press the button, become a member of the Anfield Wrap from the heart of the city of Liverpool. The best way to enjoy all your Liverpool-based videos, everything you need, every single day. It is the Anfield Wrap.